Hello and welcome to Mindset Kitchen. My name is Diana Paliokaite and I'm the host of the show. Today I have absolute pleasure of having this wonderful person in my kitchen, James Stott. James spent 14 years in the military as a Royal Marines Commando and Special Forces medic. After military, he turned professional magician. Hello, James.
Hello, thank you for having me.
It's such a pleasure. I was looking forward to have you here for a while, so thank you so much for making your way here.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited about it. I can't think how long we've been talking, but we've spoke a little bit before, haven't we?
Yes.
And then actually nailing down a date. I've got such a fluid calendar, it makes it quite tricky, but we've made it. And I'm really excited.
Exactly. When you want something to happen, it happens.
Yeah.
So, James, I've done a little introduction about you. Would you mind telling us a little bit more about yourself?
Yeah, there's sort of a shorter version is I was a Royal Marines Commando, and I was in the military for 14 years, and it was quite a busy period. I joined up in 2002, and all the way through to 2016. So it was quite a busy stint with the military in terms of Iraq, Afghanistan, and then with the Marines we do the Arctic warfare training, and then I went down as a Special Forces medic, and we deployed to different areas there. So it was quite a busy stint, and near the end of my career I was really craving just ultimate freedom. And so when I left the military, I kitted out an adventure van, a surf van, and I just wanted to surf. And I thought, right, I'll do 2 years in the van. But then as that was happening, I'd been doing magic when I was in the Marines. I'd do magic for the lads. And it's one of those things that as the years went on, the magic got better to a point where the military was asking me to come and perform for Christmas dues. My friends were asking me to do their weddings. And when I left the military, I was able to say yes to everything and just started. It was like an unintentional career transition from Marine into magic. And I started performing around, and it just took off. And then this kind of the van life, the surfing and the magic, and it just facilitated this more unconventional lifestyle where I never, and still now I've not really settled too much. I've been always on the go with doing the magic.
I'm gutted that my son is not here, by the way, because he would have loved to see some magic.
Yeah.
But James, as you were saying, unconventional, of course, you switched from being in the military to magician, and you're still finding yourself. And it's such a contrast between the two careers. Because as I imagine, you were quite disciplined. Everything is regimental, and where you are is dictated by someone else.
Yeah.
Whereas then you went into complete freedom.
Yeah.
What was the hardest thing that you had to do to adapt to this?
Well, I found the transition coming out of the military to be difficult, way more difficult than I had imagined. I think a lot of people, especially in the military, everyone's looking at that financial angle. So when I leave the military, I'm not going to get that salary. I'm not going to get the paycheck every month. But we don't look at everything else that's around it. And what I was giving up, what I was losing when I came out of the military was my tribe, my brotherhood, structure, all these daft little decisions that we don't have to make in terms of I know exactly what I'm wearing, at what time I need to be here, what's going on, and it's very structured and organized. And then all of a sudden, ultimate freedom where I can literally do whatever I want. And it was a bumpy transition, and I really had to implement my own structure in terms of just having consistency and routine, even though I was living the ultimate freedom lifestyle, moving around in a van, surfing, adventuring, but I had to have consistency, like guide rails. So always getting up, always doing my fitness, a power up routine and a power down routine, which we all need as well. But yeah, I think that the hardest thing was implementing my own structure, because all of a sudden, like, I didn't have to be reporting to anyone. It didn't matter if I didn't show up. But then almost it mattered even more because I had to show up for myself. Otherwise, it'd be very easy to let myself slip, and it's easy to go on a downward spiral, and you staying up late, you're drinking, you're watching stuff, and you're not getting good sleep, and then the next day you feel tired and groggy, and then you eat food that's not so good, and you end up on this downward spiral. It's very easy to click onto that one, or it takes a little bit more effort, but you click on the upward spiral, and then you just feel great all the time, getting up, being intentional, being present in life. And then if you're on that upward spiral, that you don't want to be eating the bad food, or you don't want to be staying up to you like, yeah, I can't wait to get my good sleep, get my good 8 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a brave transition, I would call it. It's brave because you had to find different structure. And as I'm relating to my career as well, I've been working for someone always in the banking.
Yeah.
I had my manager. I knew what I'm going to do every day. I had salary. Weekends are free. It's been like this since I got here to UK 20 years ago. And suddenly, to be this solo entrepreneur, to have your own structure, I found it much harder and requires much more discipline. And I thought I was really disciplined in the first place. And I realized I could just be absolutely lazy and do nothing.
Yeah.
Or I could really have to push myself.
Discipline to stop working as well, because when you're working for yourself, entrepreneur, you just keep working. It's 9 o'clock, it's 10 o'clock at night. There's no cut-off time, and there's always stuff that needs to be doing.
Yeah.
So unless you can actually manage yourself and go, no, it's now time to stop working. I have like a bedtime alarm set on my phone, which goes off every day, just to go off and remind me that now's not the time to be doing emails, Instagram, etc. Now's the time to be winding down, because it's easy to get carried away. So we need the discipline to actually do the work, but then also to stop and manage it in chunks of time. I've found, because I think being self-employed, there's always something that needs doing. You could just work.
Yeah, I agree. And my final question about your career: what made you change and quit military?
So, 14 years was enough, and it was busy and some real difficult times, horrendous times, and I was kind of full up, but also I was medically discharged. I'd picked up an injury in service, which meant that I could no longer perform at the level that I was required to, and they were kind of like, yeah, you're finished, out you go. So it was initially I didn't want to leave, and when I was told that this is kind of career ending, but like with everything, you've got to just change your perspective straight away. And we have something in the military, it's called QBOs, which is quick battle orders. So if you're advancing on a position in battle, you have your orders, you have the mission, you know what you need to do. But if something happens something happens, the plan changes, you need to be able to just relinquish that first plan and go, right, quick battle orders, this is now the new plan, and we're rolling with that. And the quicker you can let go of that idea, and I see so many people in a situation where something happens and they go, yeah, but I wanted to do that. It's like, it doesn't matter now. Like, yeah, you wanted to, who cares? It's gone. It's not an option anymore. This is your option. The quicker you can let that one go and start moving forward with this one. So initially I was like, oh, I don't want to be kicked out of the military. But then I was like, right, actually I can do this. And I had to then just roll with that. So, yeah.
That's a great advice. I look at loads of things the same way, actually. When something happens, instead of dwelling on it, why it's happened, why is this happening now, I say, right, what I'm going to do next.
Yeah.
It's my next step that actually will take this.
If that's no longer an option in front of you,
yeah,
there's no point even considering it.
Exactly.
It's like, yeah, it would have been nice for that to happen, but that's not happening now. What can we do about it? My dad had always taught me, if you don't like something, change it. But if you can't change it, change your perspective on it. And
that's
I think
great,
that's I couldn't change this decision. I could change my perspective. I could go, actually, life's chapters, and I think as as I'm getting older, I can see these chapters of life, and it is a little bit disheartening because it was like handing that baton over to the young, keen lads. I wasn't that young, fit Marine that I used to be, and it's like handing that, and it's you can look at it, it's like a milestone of like, oh, I'm getting older.
Yeah.
I'm getting, now I'm the guy coming out the end here. But yeah, I mean, your whole reality is your perspective anyway,
Exactly.
and there's so much to be grateful for. And I think if you, again, with the upward and downward spiral, if we can look at what we're grateful for and be present here now, there's so much, and like life is so good. It's it's exciting.
Thank you, James. Thank you for sharing that. I feel like I don't even need to read your mindset messages because you would speak so much truth, so much great advice from your experience, but I'm sure these will reveal a bit more.
Yeah.
So before I read your first one, I'm going to introduce what I'm going to cook for you.
Yeah.
Cook. I've been cooking for the past 3 hours today, so I don't need to do any cooking, so we can have a very pleasant and quiet conversation and keep the energy flowing the same way.
I know it's going to be amazing because when you were telling me about it when I came here, you were so excited, and you were, so I know there's a lot that's gone into this.
Thank you. I was excited, but also it's one of those things that I've never done before. I love setting myself a challenge, but my guest James told me that he likes tuna or steak, and I said, you know what, I'll cook tuna, and he says, sounds good. And yeah, it's just us tuna and some salad on the side, nothing too big. And I responded to him because it came to me that moment, and I said, I'll cook tuna 3 ways, and then that was that. And I had to cook tuna 3 ways, and it's quite quite a challenge because I've never done 3 courses in this kitchen since I launched before. But the key is preparation. So I've been preparing all morning, and therefore James will get all the meal in a slow order, and you'll be able to taste little bits before the final meal. So the first one is tuna tataki. The tuna actually arrived this morning. So my block of tuna arrived. I had given precise instructions to my fish delivery company to don't send cut in steaks because you buy in steaks. And I said I want the whole block. So it arrived around 8 a.m. this morning. So I seared this tuna earlier in the morning, and I made the sauce for tataki. And the sauce is quite simple: orange, lime juice, sesame oil, soy sauce, toasted sesame seeds, chives, and a bit of red pepper flakes. The reason it's taking so long because there were 15,000 bottles in here, because to mix all these little sauces, not Japanese, in Japanese cuisine, they just have so many, a bit of everything. And then you produce this result and it tastes good, but there's just so many ingredients. So pretty much that. Now I'm going to read the first message, and I'm going to serve you tuna tataki. It's a light kind of starter meal, and I hope you enjoy it. So the first message is, the mind is more powerful than your DNA. Tell me more about it.
So that's something that literally I came across a good few months back, but this year, and I listened to a podcast called Modern Wisdom, Chris Williamson, and he was talking about a study that they'd done where they had 2 groups of people, and half of the people had like a genetic advantage. Physically, it meant that they could blow off CO2 easier, so they were more capable at recovering quicker from physical activity, which meant they should score higher in physical tests. And the other group didn't have this genetic difference, but they mixed the groups. But they told all of this group, you have this advantage, and they told all of this group that you don't have it. And so you ended up with people that didn't have the genetic advantage outperforming people that did, just because they believed. And it's the expectation effect. So it's kind of like the placebo effect. If you believe in something, but it's so powerful, it's more powerful than your genetic makeup. And it really made me just think, we can literally do anything. If we believe we can do something, then we can. You know,
Yes.
it was,
Yeah.
I found it really powerful. And it was, I screen recorded the short off Instagram about talking about this, and I sent it to several of my close friends. I even set up a WhatsApp group centered around this, because it really just pumped me up so much that, wow, you know, we can outperform our DNA just
Yeah.
from our belief, our mind. So we all know that the mind is powerful, but it's so powerful. And it's nice because it's one of the mottos of the Marines is a state of mind. Um, but I didn't realize how powerful it was until I heard about this study.
It's interesting how, and for some reason you believe straight away that study, and you believe that's what's happening.
Yeah.
Right? So you needed that study, and now it's changing the way you're thinking about majority of the things.
Yeah.
It's happened similarly to me. I this is one of my favorite things, because that's all I do. Is, gosh, I have so many scenarios where, or like moments where this happened to me, and it's almost undeniable now that whatever you believe becomes or happens, right? And in my life, that's since my husband's, because I had chapters as well. So when you're referring chapters, I have chapters, and my past 4 years is my new chapter, because the previously to that was I was with my husband, and my husband passed away. And then my new chapter now, post husband death, and everything about the mind and what I've done after his death was basically one of the things that you just mentioned. And I managed to basically take the pain and look at it as a joy, because I'm grateful and appreciative, and my body felt joyful. So, oh, I want to do this, and I'm visualizing I'm doing this, and then I end up doing it. So absolutely 100%, it's one of my most powerful things that I wish we all believed it.
It's kind of moving into being a little bit more spiritual.
Yes,
and I
exactly.
think I'm building a business at the moment which is mind, body, soul. And in the Marines we're 100% physical and we have a good mindset, but we, like a lot of us in the Western world, we kind of mug off the spiritual side of things, the soulful practices, but they're so powerful and they've been around for thousands of years because there is something there. And I think the thing that I'm creating at the moment, the business, it's a holistic approach to health and fitness. So it's mind, body, soul. It's everything.
It has to be everything.
It has to be everything. Yeah.
So
Before
before we continue, do not attack. Just lightly seared, and as I just showed you with that sauce. So please enjoy.
Oh, thank you so much,
James. This should be light and delightful. And I've got a little bite here as well. And also, I think the more you read about these things, the more you involve yourself in understanding, it's almost like going down the rabbit hole. Because what I've also discovered as well is, for example, with the placebo effect, there's quite a few books that I've read about it. And of course, the environment where you put yourself is extremely important. And I know this is, maybe loads of people are aware of it, but for example, if you're born 2 twins.
This is fantastic.
Yeah. Thank you so much. It looks like it could be in restaurants, so I'm pretty proud of myself, if I say so to myself. But if you take 2 twins and they both have identical DNA, but they're raised in different environments, one in a very successful environment, let's say because they either were separated at birth, or maybe they chose different paths when they grew up. One twin was extremely successful, very healthy, fit, and another one is overweight, has various diseases like illnesses, and depressed, and gets cancer. So that just shows, and the other twin never gets cancer. So it's nothing really, so many things is nothing to do with DNA, it's the environment. Obviously I believe in that, and I've been to quite a few Bruce Lipton's lectures, if you know Bruce Lipton. Okay, so this would be really good next for you to look into it. because he speaks about that. It's about changing essentially your environment and changing your genes with the environment where you are placed. And that's called actually biology, I believe. So
Really?
I
Yeah.
recommend for you to
I mean, it's
have a look.
I've heard
I'll try
so many
that.
times we hear about the environment. It is so powerful on who we are, and the people that we surround ourselves with. It's everything.
So this is good. I think I give myself 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I'll give you 10 out of 10 as well. But it's absolutely delicious. I'm trying to savor it without
rushing.
Yeah.
So James, you are quite a person who likes outdoors, nature. So you're connected with the nature, the universe, and you're quite mindful because you just said you don't want to. You want to enjoy this, and mindfulness is one of the elements, I believe. And do you meditate?
I do meditate.
Yeah.
I was meditating on the train to come here, just because it's so easy to distract ourselves. So it always reaching for the phone or for something to eat, I think it's something that we all need to do, is a daily practice of just being, just sit and just be, and whether that's for 2 minutes or 10 minutes. But on the train, it's perfect, and that was another reason why I didn't drive, is I could just sit on the train, and just be, and it's such just feel the breath. I meditate a lot. I think there's something I heard a while back now, and it was everybody should meditate for 10 minutes a day, unless you're too busy, in which case you should meditate for an hour.
That's a good one. Yeah, because I've never used to meditate. Again, my chapter of 4 years has completely gone 360 degrees because I used to think meditation and yoga is boring, and I'm all into activity, speed, fast. I was really active person.
I've got stuff to do. I'm busy. I'm efficient. I'm productive.
Exactly, and I just never saw a point of calming myself down or sitting for 10 minutes. And I think there are certain points in our life where we are almost given a sign that something needs to change, or that you need to understand a little bit more about your life now. And I think I view everything post my husband's death was that there was a sign to me, huge sign sent. Not that I was suffering before we had a beautiful life, but it was, you are the person here sent to do different things, Diana. You're here to do different lessons and experience different life. And I am now so spiritual, whereas before there was nothing like that within me. And it's a true gift. And meditation, I know if somebody said to me, 7-10 years ago, I'll be like, okay, you are this strange person. Okay, it's okay. It's not for me. Thank you for your advice. And now I'm the one, the strange weirdo, woo-woo, saying that meditation is one of the most important things you could possibly do to actually enhance your life, to not just life, but your own body, your soul, your brain, and then the miracles that happened once you connected to the universe is, I cannot even put it into words.
There's so many things. It's such a deep subject. I know people, and for me, I like to know, what is he actually doing. And there's been neuroscientists have looked at the brain of people who meditate on a regular basis, and there's way more connectivity between both hemispheres of the brain from that. And I think two things. One, we all have this central nervous system, and it's got two branches. So we have the parasympathetic and the sympathetic, and we need to oscillate between the two. Throughout the day, we need to be oscillating between the two. So we need to be, right, let's go, let's get work done. Now let's chill, let's calm the system down again. And the reason why there's so many people getting ill with different things is because they're in this chronic stress state for too long. And then the adrenal fatigue, the body stress, the body's not getting time to repair itself. So this idea, we have this central nervous system that's got two branches, and we need to oscillate between the two. And we can do that through the quickest way to get into your parasympathetic nervous system, your rest and digest, is we can control it with the breath. And anything with a longer exhale will just move us over. So we could just sit for 2 minutes, breathe in, and it doesn't matter what the counts are, they're just guidelines, but a 3-second in and a 6-second out. Anything with that longer exhale, 2 minutes on the time on the phone, and you'll put yourself into the parasympathetic state. But we need to oscillate between the two. And the other point was, I think that we do find these ancient practices when we go through such hardship and grief and loss, and we get to a point where conventional coping mechanisms just aren't working. You're drinking, or then you're getting into running, and you're just trying to lose yourself into anything. And at some point, you're just hitting against this wall, and then at some point, you just go and you discover breathwork, meditation, yoga, and you're like, okay. But it seems to be, you can tell people about it, but sometimes they have to be hitting this wall for a while until they can go, okay, I'm going to try it.
Exactly that. And as you say, the mind is more powerful. Your mind is the power. And where people can actually cause illnesses to themselves with their mind, because the stress or overthinking, worries, anxieties, fears.
The Body Keeps the Score. I don't know if you've come across it.
No.
But I've bought the book. I've not
sense.
read it, but from the title, I'm taking a lot from the title.
Yeah, exactly.
The body keeps, because we're keeping ourselves in that stress state, and then that's allowing the inflammation and all the bad stuff to be happening.
Yeah, and the bodies are made to heal themselves. So we haven't really mastered that. Our generations haven't mastered to heal, but we mastered how to get ourselves ill. I think it's the time to learn how to heal ourselves.
Because we're always on the go, and I think just because you can doesn't mean that we need to. So you look at, I'm very interested in the blue zones of the world. So next year I'm going to set off, I'm going to go around the world and go to visit these blue zones, which are areas of the world that have high longevity, people living over 100, a good proportion of the population are centurions, they live over 100 years old. And I want to go check it all out. But when I've been telling people about this, a few people have said there's a show on Netflix, but I've been holding off watching it because I don't want it to taint my view of what it is.
Your perspective.
But we know that they eat well, but it's also the lifestyle of they sit down to eat. And again, putting yourself into the parasympathetic, the rest and digest. If we're eating whilst we're in the sympathetic, then we don't break the food down properly because the blood flow is in the muscles. It's not in the, it's not. It all makes sense. It's all logical.
Connected.
But sitting down, eating with people, and just that slower pace of life. You look around and people are eating a meal deal as they're getting into the car to drive somewhere, whilst listening to a podcast and trying to send an email on their phone, and it's like I can do. And sometimes you feel like limitless. Yeah, I'm doing everything, but we just need to stop sometimes as well and just slow it down a little bit.
That's a perfect advice. Exactly. I talk a lot about mindful eating as well, and I try to practice at home. No phones. Never watch anything whilst we eat, and just sit down and eat, enjoy the meal, be present. Exactly. It's so important how you feel afterwards. I always say you can have the same meal eaten at the times when you are stressed and when you are calm, and you will feel completely different how at the end of the meal. And you will maybe have a tummy aches or bloated or maybe a headache. And the other time you will feel absolutely fine, but it's the same meal. It all depended on your state and how you felt at that time. So all these little things, I think, benefit you into day-to-day life to have a less stress, and they don't take much time.
And time of when we eat as well.
Not late.
So you mentioned before about, like, I feel I'm very outdoorsy. I love being out and about. And it's just that I think we need to sink ourselves back to how we evolved to be, which is get up when the sun comes up, go to bed when the sun goes down. syncing our circadian rhythm. So the whole circadian circa means around from day. I had a chat with a guy who he suffered with depression and anxiety, and he would get he struggled with all these things, but he was up all through the night doing online poker. And he's like, yeah, but I get 8 hours of sleep in the daytime, and then it sort of went back and forth. And I'm not trying to, he can do whatever he wants to do, but I was saying, at the end of the day, we're not nocturnal.
No, I agree with that. I agree. I go to bed very early, 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I wake up with the sun. My room is actually not dark. I can see and sense the light coming through, and then my eyes naturally open. So I've always been like that. I love my sleep. So, but it depends. It's different for everyone. Okay, so we have a second one. I'm glad you're enjoying that, and I'll tell you about the second one. So the second one is actually a Nobu copycat meal. It is the first time I tried in Spain, in Marbella at Nobu. Me and my girlfriend were celebrating something special on her side, and we ordered this meal, and I absolutely loved it. And I understand probably why this meal was born in the first place, because if you have leftover sushi rice, you don't want to waste, but the next day they're not really nice to serve for sushi. Then you use sushi rice to make these little rice cubes. And what I've done here is I made sushi rice yesterday. Then I did all the the seasoning for sushi yesterday. So it's got vinegar, sugar, and rice mirin. So mixed together, and I pressed it down with loads of different weights in the fridge, and I put it in the fridge, and it stayed pressed down. And then this morning I cut it up and I fried in a little bit of oil, so they're kind of like rice crispy, crispy rice cubes. And here I've got tuna. You don't mind a little bit of spice, do you?
No.
Okay, you didn't put that on the email, so I assumed correctly. So what I have here is tuna. Also, I'm that kind of person who, when I have, let's say, tuna, or if I have chicken, I make sure I don't waste anything. It's extremely important for me to reuse everything that I have. So tuna, as it arrives in a block, there's usually the side that has kind of like a skin within, and it's got little stringy layers. So what you do is you cut it off, so you round off and you have lovely tuna, but those bits, you take a teaspoon or spoon and you take the tuna meat through the gaps of this kind of string. It's hard to explain, and you get a lot of tuna. But if you wouldn't know, I didn't know that before, because I attended sushi making course, I would have probably chucked away that, because it's got those strings in there.
You would have left all that meat?
Yeah, because I didn't know what to do with it, because it's just not, it's quite chewy if you leave those strings. So I cleaned everything and I just left strings in the bin, and there was this much tuna. So I assume that's what happens in Nobu. They use this for sushi rolls, let's say spicy tuna rolls, or use it for that. And then that way you don't do any wastage. So I'm going to assemble this. So that with avocado and some jalapeno. I'll serve this in a moment for you, and I will read your second message.
Thank you.
Which, wow, I've never had this before, so I'm excited to...
Yeah, I'm trying to think what I know it, but I don't know what I don't.
You don't know what you thought about when you gave me the message. Yeah, but let's see. Maybe it will naturally come out for you. So the second message is: life is a game.
Oh yeah.
Why, James? Life is a game. I would probably agree. And you can dictate your own rules.
Yes.
And you can be the best player, the worst player. It's up to you.
Yeah, yeah. Your perception and your perspective on reality is the reality that you're living. So yes, we do go through hard times, and there are things that make things difficult, but we can reframe and we can look at situations differently. But I just think, I look around sometimes and I see people walking down the street and their posture's terrible, they're hunched over, they're dragging their feet, they look like life's a drag, and we it's your life.
Yeah.
Just enjoy it. Like it won't last that long. It'll be over soon. So just whilst we're here, just really enjoy it. Really be present. And I think that, I don't know if it's a quote, but I remember Crocodile. Have you seen Crocodile Dundee?
Yes,
I love
yes.
Crocodile Dundee, and there's a bit in it where these guys are trying to kill Mick Dundee, and he's not taking it seriously.
Yeah.
And the woman, his partner, is like, "It's not a game, Mick," and she sort of says this to him, and he like looks at her, and he just kind of smiles, and it made me think like, and this was after like losing my dad, and it made me think, if it's not a game, then what is it?
Then
Because
what is the
it,
game?
if we take it too seriously, it, and then it's gone. And
Yeah.
what was all that about? I think essentially life as a game is we just need to lighten up a little bit. Yeah.
I would totally agree with that. And I've learned quite a lot from my late husband, because he was the kind of person who would just be so laid back about everything. Let's say the situation is quite stressful. It's all right. It will sort itself out. Or I know what to do. And it's just that laid back attitude. I always now say he figured it out. He figured it out and gone and left us here to all continue figuring it out, because he had it all figured out, because that man was amazing. And his attitude to life was as if life is a game.
Yeah.
Play however you want it, do whatever you want. And the more you say life is a game, and how you perceive it, the more you actually choose to play more fun.
Yeah.
It's all about believing that it's a game.
Yeah.
Because essentially it is. When we die, we realize, oh dear, why was I so serious? Why I didn't do this? Why I was worried what other people were thinking?
Yeah.
Why I didn't go for
I
it?
I think life is way too short to not go for things, to be scared to do something,
Yeah.
scared of what people might think. It really doesn't matter.
Doesn't.
If it's something that you want to do, this looks fantastic. Yeah.
If there's something you want to do it, because you never know when you're no longer here.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
I also always say, yes, let's do a little bit of saving. Yes, let's plan your future a little bit, but live now.
Yeah.
And it's really easy to continuously focus on the future and putting money aside. But you're not living yet. You're living in the idea of the future.
Yeah.
But life is about now. Life is happening now, and this game is happening. And if you are sleeping, you are missing out.
Yeah.
So if you're not doing
or if you're doing something that you don't like,
don't
and
enjoy.
it's really come up this literally 2 days ago. I've had an email for some work, and it's very well paid, but it's something that I just don't want to do. I really don't want to do it, and it's not in line with the business I'm trying to build. And this is the first time I've in the past I've always just taken the jobs because they're well paid, but this is the first time that I've said I'm not going to take it. I'm going to turn that down, because to me what I'm doing now is more valuable than what that gives me. All that gives me is the financial aspect. It's not wholesome. It's not. There's more. Again, there's more than just the money. And I know I was chatting to my brother about this, because he was going to be doing the same job, and he's turned it down as well. And we were saying that this amount of money that I'll get paid from this job, I know that when I die, I will have that much in the bank account anyway. I'm not going to die with nothing. Well, I might, but I'm not. So I know, so I don't need to spend now doing it. And it's like, now is the most valuable time we have. There's a guy, Alex Hormozy, that he was 33 at the time he was saying it, and he was saying, I would trade everything I have accumulated when I'm old to be back at 33 again, to be back where I am now. And like, I'm the same. If I make loads of money, have loads of whatever, I'm 80 years old, I would give it all to be here now, eating, to be 40 again. You know, this, and it's, which makes right now the most valuable time you'll ever have in your life, because you would give everything to be back here again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more.
And it's amazing, you know, you mentioned about your late husband, and it's amazing how even when people go, they're still teaching us. They're still teaching us. And I think I lost my dad like 12 years ago, and for whatever reason, this year it seems really painful. I'm really sad about it. And I really miss him. But there's still things that I go, and it's like another lesson, and it's like he's, you know, man, without getting too deep on it, but they still teach us.
Well, I'm quite spiritual, and I studied mediumship, so I know they're still here, and they find ways to get through to you.
Give you a little nudge.
Exactly, they find their ways, and I know at the end of the day, we all are energy, and the energy never disappears. Energy cannot be created, and energy cannot die.
Be destroyed. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's still all there in particles or in whole.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to believe, we are still there in the trees, or maybe your dad actually turned into some metal object that you always carry, because some of the particles formed that as it was being made. So it all comes around, and you still will be receiving everything from him.
Yeah.
As if he's here. So thank you for sharing that moment to spice up your moment now.
Sorry,
I made spicy tuna, which basically has sriracha, some sesame oil, mayonnaise, which is avocado oil mayonnaise, vegan as well. And then I have, what else? That's it. And some soy sauce inside, crispy rice, on top is jalapeno and some avocado.
Are you having one of these?
This is for you, and I still have. Look, I have.
Okay.
I have cooked. So what I'll do, I'll do a little version here as well to join you to try, just to see this is as tasting as it should be. And then I'm going to read your next message. So please enjoy. It's going to have a little crunch as well. And I'm going to read your second message. And life is a game. It's a beautiful message to take away for me, because I feel like this is going to be a message that I'm going to use with my son now. And I'm going to tell him, don't worry, don't get too upset about this. Life is a game. And I will see his reaction, what he will say. He'll probably say, what do you mean, Mommy? And I'll say, because we all players. We play however we want. Life is not supposed to be serious. Life is supposed to be fun, enlightening. And I'll keep on saying that, because I have various mantras that I say to him. And there's another one that I've just learned lately about life and about how I'm going to approach this to my son. Instead of asking, what did you do well at school today? Or what did you eat at school? Or anything like that. I will say, what did you not do well? Where did you fail today? What were your mistakes? And I'll make him feel comfortable talking about it. Because the game itself, you need to lose and you need to stand up, and that should inspire you rather than putting you down and making you feel low and putting you off from actually taking more risks.
Yeah, to be able to just look at something and be like, this is what I could have done better. This is what I did well, and this is what I could have done better. And then to move forwards without the berating. Because we're always, it seems like a lot of people are berating themselves for not doing this or for letting themselves down. And there's coaches that will coach their athletes to Olympic standards without berating them. You know, they can say, this is what I did well, this is what we need to improve on. This training day went well, this one could have been better. So we can coach ourselves without berating. I think here people berate themselves, and here people just let themselves off with so much. And it's like, don't be a sack, but don't berate the shit out of yourself. Try and do the work.
Very true.
But say, come on, this is good. I did this well, and I can do this better. And because it's your life. You have to live with yourself. Make it nice.
Make it fun. Make it nice. Take risks. Just do everything you want. Because I think if you don't take those risks, you will never know And I took a risk with Mindset Kitchen. I was
Yeah.
absolutely clueless when I started. I had no idea, but I'm enjoying this journey. I'm enjoying the ride, and I have people in my kitchen like yourself talking and cooking for them. I mean, I'm extremely happy,
Yeah.
and I'm happy that you are here. So please
Thank
enjoy.
you.
I realize these are not extremely bite-sized. They're quite big sizes
It's a
and
big bite size.
big bite size. But I think it turned out quite nice as well, and it's as close to Nobu as I tried to make it. Before I start making the final meal for James, I will read your third message. And this particular meal is also being prepared. Actually, no, I'll tell you about the meal first, and then I'll read your message, and you can enjoy your bite sizes. So sorry, maybe I should have cooked them a little smaller. Anyway, what I'm going to make next does not require cooking. It's a poke bowl, obviously. It's a very well-known meal, but my poke bowl is going to be the best. So I hope that this is the poke bowl you never tried before in your life. Right, I'll start, because the reason I've taken this long this morning, because there are so many ingredients in all of this, and it's taking some time, but it's all worth it. So the poke bowl, I cooked rice this morning. We have sushi rice here, seasoned, all cooked. They will go into poke bowls, and you can see there's a large amount here, so I'll join you afterwards as well for a meal. We have sushi rice here. I have cucumber, and cucumber has been marinating in honey, rice vinegar, and some chili and chives. So it just adds a little bit acidity to balance out the sweetness of the rice. Then we will have edamame. I have here, it's a meal that I've never done before, but I cooked this morning, and it's absolutely lovely. So shallots, panko breadcrumbs, toasted sesame seeds, and salt. So they add kind of like sweetness, crunch to the poke bowl. Never had that in any of the poke bowl restaurants that I bought before. So there you go. Then we have avocado. We'll have some jalapeno. I have nori sheets. So at the end, you put some nori in there, and it kind of gets moist and adds another little bit of flavor. Then we have a sauce. So I've got my little whisk in there. The sauce also consists of that avocado oil mayo, sriracha, again, a bit of soy sauce, sesame oil, lime juice. And that's it. Yeah, that's the sauce. What else do we have? Then I have mango, will go in there. And I make my own seasoning. It's called furikake. It's Japanese. It's essentially got similar ingredients like sesame seeds, salt, pepper, nori sheets, and it just adds another different flavor, and some pickled ginger. So I'll start assembling this this thing in front of me, and I'll read your final message. Quite sad. The time really flies, and flies because I'm having fun. So the final.
Well, this looks incredible.
Thank you. You will be able to share what you thought about this meal, because I'll give it to you just before we turn the cameras off, so then you can say this is the best poke I ever had. And if he doesn't say that, I will be absolutely fine and not offended at all. Anyway, the third and final message is there is a price for everything. That is quite, it depends how I read, I guess. There is a price for everything, or there is a price for everything. So tell me about it, James.
So you can't, there's nothing for free. You'll pay a price for everything. And what it seems to me is anything that seems to be like short-term gain or short-term pleasure has a price tag to it that you'll just pay later on.
Yeah.
And the reverse of that, anything that's kind of a little bit uncomfortable in the now will have a benefit. So it might be tempting to eat bad food, to indulge, but you'll pay that price later on. It might be tempting to skip going to the gym or whatever it is, but there is a price for that. And equally, if you do the things that maybe you don't want to do, but you know that you should, then it will be of benefit. It's yeah, I know I'm not articulating it too well. I have a very carefree attitude and mindset and perspective on life, but that's not to say that I have this, off the rails lifestyle. I'm very free, but I'm free because it has the guide rails. And I had a client once who was saying, she lost her husband, and she was saying, "Oh, I'm going to do what I want to do, and I'm going to eat this bar of chocolate. I'm going to stay up all night. I'm going to not get out of bed, and I'm going to do all this." And I was like, "Yeah, but is that really what you want to do? Do you want to be overweight and feeling terrible and tired, and surely that's not the life you want?" Like, it's so it's. I think sometimes people can misinterpret what I'm saying with my with the carefree attitude that nothing matters.
Yeah.
But it's like it does matter.
It does.
So they all kind of link into each other.
I agree, and I wanted to know your perception on, or your perspective on, there is a price for everything, because it could be interpreted in quite a few ways.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's very interesting that you brought the point to say, well, you will eat a chocolate bar, you will pay for it later in that way, right?
So now you got diabetes.
Exactly.
And that's the price you pay for that.
Exactly.
I mean, it's kind of like we reap what we sow. I guess it's.
Yeah.
I think sometimes it seems to me that people want to drink and not have the hangover.
Yeah.
As an
I would
analogy.
love that too.
So it's like they want to be able to do whatever they want and not have to pay a price for it.
Yeah.
And I think we just need to acknowledge that you will pay a price.
Yeah. I think there is a price for everything is something that I not really thought about over the past 4 years in all of my spiritual journey, but I do that subconsciously already. I know that whatever I put in my body will come out. Whatever effort I will put in will come back to me. And it's and that is giving a definition of that lifestyle that people can choose to live.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, if you mindfully and intentionally thinking that there is a price for everything, I imagine again your perspective and mindset can change. The same way as you're saying life is a game. Life is a game. The more you think about it, the more things will start making sense. And then before you, looking at that simple example, before you tuck in into a takeaway, you say, I know I'll pay this. Okay, I'll make a choice. I'm happy to pay for this later. And then next time, obviously, maybe I'll, be easy and I'm not going to have a takeaway, for example.
Yeah. I don't.
Never?
No. But I mean, it's crazy because every time I go into a supermarket, I want the chocolate bar.
Yeah.
And it never seems to, I just know that I don't want all the feeling that comes with it, the kind of the spike and then the crash and the irritation and the, but it's every time I have to drag myself.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm so happy. This is so healthy.
Oh, this is amazing.
But because I don't want you to be paying the price.
No, when you eat stuff like this, you feel great.
Exactly. Yeah. And I absolutely love, I'm obsessed with food. I don't do diets or anything because I eat food that is nourishing my soul.
Yeah.
And I don't really need to worry about it.
This is exactly what I said. So your body is a physical representation of your eating habits, of your training habits, of your lifestyle. And so I'm a PT now as well, and I'm training clients. And all my training is identity based. So how am I showing up? And if it's the body will just be a side effect of the inputs you're doing, the lifestyle you're leading, the food you're eating, the training you're doing, and then you just have. And I think it's better to go for that rather than I'm gonna go on these diets, so I'm going to really try and bend myself into this shape, and it doesn't fit, know. And then once you get there, and then you relax, and then you just go back to where you were. But if you have a lifestyle that it just gives you're in good shape just by default, just as a side effect.
Yeah,
that's where we want to be.
It's just more sustainable then.
100%.
I'm enjoying my food, and I know this is going to last, and I don't have to count something or worry about something.
There's a guy called James Clear, and he has the 2-minute rule, and
Yeah.
it's just do something, because we all need to be stretching every day, and it is off-putting to think that we need to do an hour of yoga, and it'd be great to do an hour of yoga every day, but it's not going to happen. It's not sustainable. But 2 minutes of yoga is. So when we get up on a morning, we could just do a forwards fold and stretch the back out for like a minute, and then go brush our teeth. And then if we keep things so simple, they're sustainable, and we can just be consistent with them. And then you can do every day. You do some yoga, and some days you might have a bit more time. You could do it for 10 minutes, But if we do, the 2-minute rule is really good for being able to implement healthy habits into lifestyle.
Yeah, and it's a great advice. It's a 2 minutes doesn't sound like much.
No, it's all right. But then the compound effect
The
of
compound.
time. Yeah.
Exactly. Absolutely love chatting to you. Thank you so much, James. Preparing yourself for a meal is setting his position. So here, Pokeball, I've mentioned all the things except actually tuna. Tuna was cut into cubes and marinated in soy sauce, in sesame oil, a bit of chili, dried sesame seeds, chives, and spring onions. And I'll give you a little bit more sauce on the side afterwards if you want more. But there you go, Pokeball.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you. I hope
that looks incredible.
Hope you enjoyed. Please feel free to dig in and give me some feedback. I appreciate the constructive feedback.
Yeah.
James, it was absolute pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much for being here. I enjoyed chatting, and I can tell I was sensing so much calmness from you, and I expected that, because I was told that you are a really kind and very calm person, and I kind of believed that.
Yeah.
And it was right, because the whole energy in the kitchen, I know you perhaps, maybe you are able to sense, it was really calm. And I enjoyed you leveling me down into this calm energy when you arrived, because it was quite chaotic in the morning here, and you wouldn't tell that. So I appreciate your beautiful energy here today, James.
Oh, thank you.
Appreciate sharing a bit of snapshot of your life story, which I know there's so much more, and I could continue talking to you. And I had the pleasure of making this food for you.
Oh, thank you
Enjoy.
very much.
Thank you everyone for watching, and have a good day.